What's up, Shelf Addicts? Welcome back to the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Today on Book Chat, we are covering the March Buddy Read, the first book of a new crime mystery series, Hide, written by Tracy Clark. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, we feed your shelf addiction with fun book conversations, bookish topics, and more. It's like listening in on your favorite book club. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or on the Book Club's app. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's show. You can always find me and Classy on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe before you leave. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing so. The uncut video version of this podcast is available now on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows, special episodes, and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come on over to Patreon and sign up. As always with Book Chats, we talk spoilers here, so you've been warned. Without further ado, let's begin. We've got a lot to talk about today, so we are going to jump right to it. Joining me is the Buddy Read feature co-host, Classy from the Bookish Virtual Assistant. Welcome back, Classy.
Hey there, Tamara. Happy March.
Happy March.
Women's History Month. All that.
All the things. Okay. So guys, before we start the discussion, if you are interested in today's after show, head on over to Patreon to watch it. We're talking about maybe some book news and some other random things. So head on over and enjoy that. Today we are talking about the book Hide, book 1 in the Detective Harriet Foster series written by Tracy Clark. The audiobook was narrated by Shante McCormick. This book was published on January 1st, 2023 by Thomas and Mercer and Brilliance Audio. The paperback comes in at 369 pages, and the unabridged audio is 11 hours and 55 minutes. Classy, would you kindly share the synopsis?
Absolutely. When a young red-haired woman is found brutally murdered in downtown Chicago, one detail stands out: the red lipstick encircling her wrist and ankles. Detective Harriet Foster is on the case, even though she's still grieving the sudden death of her partner. As a Black woman in a male-dominated department, Foster anticipates a rocky road ahead. Acclimating to a new team and building trust with her new partner isn't coming easily. After another victim turns up with the same lipstick markings, Foster suspects she's looking for a serial killer. Through a tip from a psychiatrist, Foster learns about Bodie Morgan, a troubled man with a twisted past, and a penchant for pretty young redheads with the bluest eyes. As Foster wades onto Morgan's sinister history, the killer continues their gruesome assault on Chicago's street. In her desperate race to catch the murderer before they strike again, Foster will have to confront the darkest of secrets, including her own.
All righty. High level.
Yeah.
When you finished the book, immediately after, what did you think?
I was frustrated.
Oh,
I was very frustrated.
Aw.
Tracy is one of my go-to authors. She's an auto-buy author for me. I'll still, buy her. This is a new series, so I was like excited, like, okay, a new series, even though once you get used to another character, you're just like, why are you gonna stop? But I was frustrated. I felt like the story was going round and round and round, and I was frustrated.
Okay.
I really was. Is that
Yep.
high level enough? Okay. Yeah,
That's fair.
okay.
So, high level, I said, that was okay. That was my final, when I finished, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And
Nothing memorable.
no, but one thing was pretty memorable to me, and that is how cartoonish the killer ended up being at the end. And by cartoonish, I mean I could see her rubbing her hands together saying, "I'll kill you and your dog." Like the witch. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was so over the top at the end. Like, this put together person is like Looney Tunes at the end. And I
Yeah.
thought that was very cartoonish in comparison to how that character had been for the whole book. So
Right.
I literally
And
laughed.
even Silva, right, and even Silva, when she was describing the killer, to Detective Lee and to Detective Foster, they when you said that, it just made me think, because I think I even wrote that down, that they said the description that Silva is giving us doesn't match, because Silva thought it was
Mhm.
Bodie. And she's like, it doesn't match, because Silva was like, this is an altogether highly intelligent criminal who knows exactly what they're doing, and they're looking at Bodie, who's all disheveled and just anxious. And so, yeah, you're right. For this whole time, you have this high functioning Amelia who blends in, and I mean, I don't know if she was trying to say she finally cracked under the
Oh,
pressure of,
no.
like, the facade.
Her
I'm not sure, but
personality
I
went from, like, Hannibal to, like, the Joker. You know what I mean? It was just like, "What?"
yeah.
Screaming and
Right.
hollering and
Even I think when you said that, I think it didn't Lorigan, or her Foster's original partner. And I think we might got to talk about that too.
Mhm.
He said, you we're looking for more Hannibal Lecter and not witty
Mhm.
somebody. And I meant to look up that killer, and I couldn't remember the name of the killer. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It was. It was. Yeah. There were some things. I was just like. It was too long for it was a police procedural, true not true crime, but like police detective thing, but I just felt like there were just moments that this just took
A lot.
forever
So I'm glad you
to
mentioned
get to solve.
that it's a procedural, right? So those are
Mhm,
usually mysteries. But for some
mhm.
reason on the cover, it says a Detective Harriet Foster thriller. And I
Hmm.
didn't quite get thriller vibes. I got mystery vibes and police procedural. Obviously, that's a very obvious one, but thriller?
No,
I'm
no,
not
there was
I'm not
nothing
sure.
thrillerish. No, no,
Mm, maybe
no.
if okay, so not to rewrite the book. I try not to do that, but my brain is always going. Maybe if, Harriet had something personal invested in this in this crime fiasco, and maybe if they had some kind of thing about her, which wasn't really realized. It was like a little bit of stalking of her, but it wasn't realized. Nothing. There were some things that could have made it more thriller-ish to me that did not really happen.
No, no, right. And even from the synopsis, when they said, let's see, let's go back to that last statement, which was she had to uncover dark secrets of her own or something. So when I read that, and like you were saying on the cover, it says
Mhm.
thriller. I was thinking too, like, okay, because when those kind of things happen in police procedurals, and when the killer is becoming involved with the police, they do begin to play the psychological, mind game with the detective or police officer by kind of going into their history and finding their dark secrets. And I could see, like you were saying, now if the killer did that, that would have been
Yeah.
thrilling, knowing, she lost her partner, her son was killed, playing on
Yep.
those not antics, but those parts of her life, those dark secrets, because
trying to
Her
best her
partner
or
didn't even know
something.
about her son.
Yeah.
Yeah, even her partner didn't know that. They knew about her partner committing suicide, but they didn't know that her son was murdered.
No, and at one
So,
point,
yeah.
I think I can't remember what chapter, I should have marked it, but, the person said, like, "Something is off with her, something about her," but again, it wasn't fully explored. It kinda was just thrown out there and left.
Mhm. Yeah. And even the killer, like when she would go to that tree and talk to the tree, and the killer, because the killer was
Mhm.
watching her, and she was like, "Is she a tree hugger? Why is she going to that tree?" Now that would have been that opportunity to fucking play with Harriet. You know, we getting like dark over here.
But that's what a thriller is, right? That's what
It is, because it's like, oh, she wants to try and solve this crime. She thinks she's gonna get me, like you said, she's gonna best me. Okay, Miss Harriet Foster,
Mhm.
I know about your secrets.
Exactly. But there was none of
Nobody
that.
else knows, but I do. No,
No.
like just dropping, like instead of those little cigarette butts, she might drop, because her son was a Chicago Cubs fan. She might drop some little memorabilia. Play
Mhm.
with her mind.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah.
So, let me ask this. Y'all know we talk spoilers. We gonna spoil it. You've been warned. We jump around. You've been warned.
Been warned, been
Um
warned. Oh, I'm sorry, but yeah, it was here, and I was like, "You've been warned."
Hey, you
Y'all
can't
know.
see what she's waving this cute wand.
Yeah.
But I knew who the killer was very early on. Very early. And I was waiting and waiting. I'm like, okay, show it to me because I know it's her because of why is she following her brother? Why is she doing that? Why? I'm like, no, it's her.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
obviously not the
I did
brother.
too.
I knew it very early on.
Oh yeah. Almost like what? Because he got out of the mental institution, and she was like checking up on him, and I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh man, yeah, it's
It's
her."
her. And so I was not
Yeah.
surprised at all. And I was like, show me the proof. And then also when the doctor started getting involved, like, trying to throw Bodhi under the bus, I'm like, why? Why? Why is that? I'm like, what is her game? I said, she trying to like publish something on him. And then she's trying to publish something on him. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. So a lot of the things that were supposed to like make you question things or, kind of be red herrings, those did not work for me. I knew what they were.
Immediately. Yeah, because even the cops were trying to say, "No, this couldn't be a woman. Women don't do this." And how did she drag the body? And because they were killed one place and dragged to another spot, and so yeah, I knew it was. I can't remember where. I think it was the line when they had discovered. Well, Bodie had discovered the body. Okay, audience. Their father was a serial killer, and he killed people in the house in the basement. And Bodie came upon the dead body. And I guess I don't know if he screamed or he just stood there, and Amelia came in.
Hmm.
And her reaction was totally different. And if you've read enough mystery thriller, suspense, crime, whatever, you know the mind of a killer
Yeah.
almost. It's like you kind of understand the dynamics of, unless, but not all the time. Now, there are some writers out there that will throw you for a loop,
Hmm.
like, I did not see that
Hmm.
coming. But most of the time, you watch, and here we have twins, they're fraternal twins, and the one twin freaked out, and the other one kind of was just not phased at all.
Hmm.
And they both lived these lives of normalcy, of not, well, the facade of normalcy, going to school, not telling people. But her reaction versus Bodhi's reaction, I think, kind of let me know she's the killer.
Yeah.
That's when I realized that.
Yeah. And we did find out, he had been grooming her on purpose. Like, it was an experiment. Can I make her like me? Can I do this? And so one thing that I wasn't surprised by it at all was the fact that we learned that they were basically kidnapped when they were children. Like, they were toddlers or whatever age. And that, their quote unquote father, serial killer father, killed the mother, lied about it, and raised them as his own. And I was not surprised at all. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
And I don't know what the clue.
No, it was never a
No.
moment. Never in this book.
So I thought that was wild. And that kind of plays into the whole nurture versus nature thing. Because she was taught that, and it worked for her, but not the brother. Although the brother could never get his shit together and he even said in the book, like, why can't I just go to the police and say it's him? It's him, why? And I think it's because he felt that was his family, but that's why when he said, he figured out, he read the material that was given to him, he's like, I'm free. I never have to speak to either one of their asses again. Deuces.
Bodhi said deuces, y'all.
Yeah.
Said, I'm out of here. But I also, with the nurture versus nature thing, I also would like to say, even if you think about it in families where the mother and father are biological, one child, will take to the child rearing style of what the parent, what I mean, the rigors or whatever, however the parent wants them. How they say, I raised both of y'all and you turned out this way. I think it's just because of that the nature of that person, and that the father who raised them, like you said, there was an experiment, and he sat there and he watched. It's the grooming process, just like with sexual predator. They watch. They know who is more malleable to what they're looking for. And he realized with Bodhi that he was a wild card, but he ain't gonna listen like homegirl, because she was like a daddy's girl. She whatever she looked up to him, and Bodhi was just like, nope, he's a killer. I don't care what nobody say. He my daddy, but he crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the killer, what's her name again? It is Amelia. Anika / Amelia / whatever she want to be called.
And we'll talk about that too. Like, did I miss that? Okay, let's put a pin in that. Put a pin in that about Amelia. So her name was Anika. She was born Anika. But he changed her name to Amelia. But he didn't change Bodhi's name. What the fuck?
Maybe he thought Bodhi's name sound how he thought it should sound, quote unquote.
I was like, how did
Anika sound real, easily to identify. It's very unique.
Yeah. It's okay. Bodhi is unique. Because I kept saying, is it Bodhi or Brody? Brody? And then when I looked in the book, because we'll go on the narrator situation later, because I wasn't sure, because the narrator intonation and threw me a few times, so I wasn't sure until I started reading the book, and I was like, okay, so it is Bodhi, not Brody. So okay, Anika is Anika would stand out if red flags would be raised with Anika.
But you're right, Bodhi isn't very common either.
No, No, not at all. No. But I was just like, why are you going to change her name and not his? But anyway.
I forgot what I was going to say now. Let's move on.
Damn
I
it.
forgot. Well,
something about the killer Amelia, the nurture. We were talking about nature and nurture in Amelia.
Oh, so the whole time, I'm like, was she trying to lure her father back? Or, because, they had a plan, quote unquote, right? She knew he was around, but she claimed she didn't. She was waiting for him to make contact, I think. Like when he walked into the art gallery looking for her. She was super excited that he was there. She was like giddy. I'm like,
Right.
oh, that's my uncle. I said, girl, that's your daddy. Why you trying to? You ain't fooling nobody. But I'm like,
right. She wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
She wasn't
No.
surprised that he was. Yeah, it was almost like about time, or
she wanted to
the
prove
time had
that
come.
she could be like him.
Yeah. She was like, what did he say about my paintings? Oh,
You
he
like
liked
my
them?
paintings? Oh, I had to, I only had this knife and it wasn't a saw, so I had to like draw the lines, or I would have cut off the appendages with lipstick. Okay, girl. So childlike in that way.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
That's what the lipstick was for?
This is where I would have cut off the
Oh my
arms,
God.
the hands and the feet, but I didn't have a saw. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was waiting for something way more sinister. Way more sinister. No. I was just like, okay, lipstick. What's the lipstick for? What's the lipstick for? And that was
she
it.
was showing her daddy, I would do it like you, but
I don't have a saw. I'm a grown woman.
I mean,
with an art studio.
Oh my God, right?
Like, you can't go buy a saw?
Right. But I think that would have not really worked for how she was killing and where she was leaving bodies. Like, that would have been the hugest mess ever.
Okay.
And unless you do it and then just scatter the pieces around. I mean, I don't know. It started to get a little bit like, even I'm trying to think back to like when they were watching the videos, the videos of like the spaces near the river and all the things. They were trying to see who was walking with the first woman who was killed. They were really trying to figure this out. And some of it, I probably should have gone back and read that section after hearing what Amelia had to say. But I'm like, I could not. I knew it was her, but it didn't really read right.
Like her.
Right. So I'm like, well, it started to get a little convoluted, I think.
It did. And even like the police were saying, this isn't what a woman would do. But, I mean,
she was mimicking a man.
Nothing is
She
written.
wasn't doing what she would do.
Yes. Right. And she had to drag the bodies. So, because, we never did, I don't even know, did we get a description of Amelia? Like, like body size? Like, was she strong? Was she able to possibly, like dragging a body? How hard is it? Is she a little bitty woman? Is she a bigger, I don't think I remember any kind of description of her
stature or build or anything.
Her physicality. But yeah, that those moments of her sliding through that little gap between the underpass, I think. So yeah, that was like the only thing. But I mean, even because like usually with crimes, the walk of the perp, because somebody's, oh, that's a woman, that's not a man.
The gate.
That's a woman.
Yes. Like, how could you?
Yeah, that gate, and that wasn't mentioned.
No.
Which, I mean, I get, as an author, she probably wouldn't want to throw that in there. But but those are types of things that as a detective, when you're watching hours of film, Kate is like
Yes.
recognizable.
And that's one thing that I think when they were talking about, well, it doesn't look like the woman was scared, or she doesn't look like she's being forced to walk. I'm like, well, that's because she's walking with a woman, not a man.
Woman. Hmm.
And when her artist friend talked about how scary her father looked, I'm like, well, clearly that reemphasized it's really not him. That was a woman. That's why when they were talking about it, I'm like, well, it wasn't a man. That's why
Yep. These
all the
women,
men that
they
they
were
considered,
comfortable.
yeah, all the men they considered at the onset of this book were all like whack dudes. Like,
Right, and the hackles of a woman was like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
yeah.
Or right, you're good. There's going to be some defensive wounds. There's going to be some, yeah, but it wasn't. She became familiar. That she probably chatted them up, at the little rally, and they started walking, and before you know it,
Oh, okay. Loose end. Also, plot, like plot hole. Unless I missed it, tell me if I missed it. Did we ever find out why Amelia touched that black kid with blood on her?
because guess what? I was going to ask you, did I miss it?
So I'm like, you try to frame this little kid. He didn't do shit.
Well, because it went from because I was wondering, was this like her moniker? Because she touched him with a like it was. I'm just using an example. It was basically almost like a thumbprint of blood, right? Like a little dot.
It wasn't a lot.
And
Yeah.
then the next, right, and that blood that was on him was from like what her a previous kill,
So, were you
but we
carrying around
never
a
found
vial of
out.
blood? How are you doing that?
Because the next kill, that dot of blood was on what the victim's thigh, and that belonged to the first victim. So we never knew where the blood was. So I don't know, because I was thinking, like, is it because of like the painter thing? Because there was a point because I did write that down. I think it was in chapter 46 where she mentioned when she started her paint, she started with a dot.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh.
So it's her leaving her mark, but
Yeah, I was wondering if that was like her moniker.
why does she
That
leave it on this live kid that's knocked the fuck out versus the body where she left it on the body the other time?
I don't know. I don't know if she like maybe she bumped him or because I think they said in the stills that from the film that she was watching, she basically kind of went up to him. I don't know if maybe she was trying to throw them off. That's all I can think of because he
Yeah,
was there.
he
He
was
was
there.
basically had passed out, and he probably had got some Molly, got
I
hold
think
of
he
some.
was drugged. He doesn't
Mhm,
remember. So he definitely was drugged. He doesn't seem like the kid. I don't think he was lying about doing drugs. I think he
yeah,
was drugged. He walked into
yeah,
the wrong area and fucking passed out. Like,
yep.
literally.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he was like a perfect alibi for not an alibi, but somebody to pawn the crime off on. And how perfect! Here's
A
this young
perfect
black
person
guy.
for confirmation bias. And that is what Lorigan, is that his name? Lorigan? I don't know. That is what
Hmm.
he was trying to do at first.
Yep.
And Foster's like,
Exactly.
dude, let's just wait until we get the labs and everything. Like, calm down, dude.
Chill, bruh.
I know.
Yeah, but it was perfect. Here you got
Mm,
this passed out kid, and she hadn't. Even she mentioned it where she hadn't mastered her craft. So maybe, she was just kind of getting into her groove of things. So, yeah, the little blood on homeboy didn't work. And
mm-mm,
then she did the thigh of the next one, but they could never figure out whose blood it was, with him. So I don't
mhm,
know. But that cuz that was, like you said, another plot hole. I'm like, okay, I don't care about all the rest of that. Who blood was that? Who,
mhm.
Tracy. Blood. Whose blood?
Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a throwaway because Lonergan, that's his name, Lonergan, I think. Like that whole they were only paired for like a millisecond, like 2 days. And to be honest, excuse me, I am grateful that the author did not drag us through that relationship for the whole book because that would have been painful.
Yeah. But I was
Yeah.
really upset that we wasted a lot of time on Ainsley, Keith Ainsley.
Hmm.
I mean, granted, you know what? Even if you use Keith as a possible alibi, or not an alibi, but a possible suspect, fine. But you still didn't let us know where that blood came from.
Right.
Like, tie that up for me, because that, again, that is one of my. I'm like, okay, so we spent all this time, a lot of time, and I get that possibly what she was trying to do, but didn't wrap it up right.
No, she could have came back. She could have had Foster come back around, like in the last chapter after she got her 80 stitches and went back to the mother and said, "Hey, dude, yeah, we found the killer and this is how he got the blood. So sorry, bye." I mean, they didn't even have to be like a big thing, but just like,
Yeah,
let's just piggyback around to all the things. Like that was a big ordeal in the beginning of the book.
it was. It was a real big ordeal. I
Yeah.
mean,
Like they came
you went
back to
into
him
the
again. So not only did they pull him in for questioning after he got out the hospital, they then went to his house to harass him some more after the second killing. So it's like they spent some time on him before his video,
yeah.
which, by the way, that dang on stupid detective was like, did he play that game in this house or did he take the laptop? And the father's like, man, get out of here right now. Get out.
That was like,
Right.
fuck you,
Like, what? Are
f
you
you.
kidding me? Don't come back here unless you have a warrant and better excuse than that dumb shit. Don't come back.
Right. That doesn't prove he was in here. That dad probably was like, motherfucker, if you don't get the fuck out my house,
Exactly. Like, that was so big a
please.
deal. Come back around and satisfy that mother. Because, the mother was like, you know what this does. You quit playing. What is this?
And you know what, Tamara, that's exactly when you said that, that just resonated with me. As a mother of two black boys, that part, if you didn't do anything else, tie that up.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in this climate, because I'm not sure, I'm assuming Tracy wrote this during that height of um George Floyd and some other things, because what we're into, what, year 3 of the pandemic, and that was like around that time. But if you're going to accuse a black man
Mm-hmm.
of a crime, baby,
Right.
let's wrap this shit up. If
Right.
he is innocent, let us know. I mean, granted, as a reader, we are, but whose blood is on his jacket? Granted,
Go
it
back
wasn't.
and
It
yeah.
wasn't. Yeah, just wrap that up, because you know, I'm a fan of Tracy's. Everybody, I'm a fan of Tracy. She is a Chicago writer. I live in the Chicagoland area. So reading this story and hearing of all of these locations that she's talking about, it resonates with me because I know where these spots are, and that's probably why I do enjoy reading her stories, because I'm like, I know that spot. I know that spot.
Yeah.
So, and in Chicago and in other, major cities, black men being accused of crimes of convenience, or police brutality and all that, it's easy to pin a crime on a black man.
Mm-hmm.
So to not tie that up, kind of it kind of left me a little like, I need
Yeah.
you to tie that, put a bow on it.
Yeah.
Just let's
That
just like,
kid needed to know that the law did its job this time and that, he was not in danger of ever going to jail from, they were not coming
yeah,
back for him ever because that kid was
and not
clearly shaken.
right, and not just that, he was a medical student.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It, it, his livelihood, his future. Um,
Although I don't think
yeah,
they never arrested him. They just questioned him, but
no, they did
still.
not. But still, just that mark, just that blemish, and it's not going to be in his record. But damn, that's enough to drive you bonkers.
That's
That
enough to
no, I
throw
didn't.
him off his path because he could be so stressed by all of that. He could just change about face. That's enough to do
That's
it.
what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Exactly. When you said that, that's what it resonated with me. Like, it doesn't take much for our young black men to go off that path, you
Mm.
know? Granted, he has, parents who are lawyers, and he's in medical school and blah blah blah, and yeah, they found clofenine or whatever in his system and blah blah blah. But all that
Yeah, and
could
this
just
kid
make him
was,
just
yes. And not
yep,
only that, this kid was an exception to the rule because he had money. He had lawyers for
yep.
parents. That is not the norm.
That
They would
is
have
not the
railroaded a poor kid
yep, yep,
with parents not
exactly.
so smart about the law.
Yep, exactly. So that was something that I was just kind of waiting on, but it did not come to pass.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I do. Yeah. Okay, we're over. Let's take a break and then we're going to come back. We're going to finish our discussion. There's lots more to discuss. So check out these commercials by listening to those. You are supporting the podcast. And if you don't like commercials, guess what? You can come on over to Patreon and check out the video version, or you can even listen in the background, leave the video playing, and guess what? No commercials there. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, welcome back, guys. Where should we go to next? What should we cover next? Actually, I would love to point out something I really did love in the book.
Okay, let's do that.
I loved the pairing of Foster and Lee. We have a black woman and an Asian woman. Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. And what I do like with Tracy's characters is the snarkiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved
Are you about to say that same scene?
I loved it. I was just like, thank goodness she took, and it was like, I don't even know when they actually like became partners. That was the other part. It was like they just kind of like fell into this relationship
Mm-hmm.
because Larnigan kept, when the going got tough, he left. And Lee was just like, I got some hot dogs. Basically, she was like, I got some hot dogs. You want to hang out? I'll watch some videos. And I loved their relationship. It was perfect. Um, it was like Lee was the yin to her yang.
Yes. She was
It was,
snarky. She said what she wanted. It was like the perfect, almost comedic break from the other, because like the one part where Foster is like sitting like in the dark and Lee comes in like, why are you sitting in the dark like a weirdo or something, she says. And she's like, oh,
yes.
did I say that last part out loud? She's like,
Right, she's like, you been out all night. Oh,
yeah.
wait. Are those the same clothes you got
Yeah.
on? Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really what um Foster needed, after losing her partner to suicide.
Yeah.
She needed that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I loved it. And and I was going to ask you too, because there's times when you're reading and you're just like, did I miss something? And I was like, I don't think they were officially assigned to be partners, but
Oh, they were at one point. So
okay.
what had happened was, I think
Oh yeah,
that
Griffin. Yeah.
yeah. So she's the boss lady, as she as Foster always says, boss. She calls her boss. I guess she noticed that old boy was just gone. He just wandered off, and she had heard her check him. She had seen confrontation with them already. So she had dropped to Lee that there may be a change. And Lee actually admitted to her, like, yeah, that whole thing, I kind of had a feeling it might switch. So I was kind of testing the waters there. Hope you forgive me. Let's move on. And she did. So
yeah, I did. I liked them two together.
Mm-hmm. Even in that final fight, like that fight between Amelia. Oh my gosh. So they're so they go into this house, y'all. They know they're not supposed to go in there, but the door was unlocked. And Lee's like, we're gonna go in. And she's like, what? We cannot.
I love that, because you know what? You need that friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have that one rational friend and you have the irrational.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
loved it.
And she's like, exigent circumstances. And she's like, yeah, that's not gonna fly. We're gonna be like, kick that back to traffic, cop or something. But they go in.
We're gonna be on desk.
Yes. They go in. They're looking around, chit-chatting. Lee's commenting on the lovely cabinets. She's just getting too confident that house is empty.
Yeah.
They kind of separate from each other. Next thing you know, there's a boom, scream, fall down the stairs. And then so Lee's like, she's injured badly. Yeah, she's in the basement, in the dark, on her ass, with her head like a concussion, maybe a broken ankle, maybe a sprained knee. And then, of course, she knows her partner's up there tussling with a crazy woman, because she said she saw her face. It was like, oh no, there's nothing there.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Was crazy.
I did too. I love that. I love the way the friendship organically came together.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it was natural. It
just fit
everything that, it did. It was, when you say fit, I immediately think of Forrest Gump and Jenny and peas and carrots.
Mm-hmm.
They were like peas and carrots. It was just perfect. I did like
covered
that
for each other at the hospital. After it's all said and done, the boss walks in. I guess whatever captain or whatever her official title is, and she's giving her like the 9th degree, basically. You tell me what happened. Whose idea was it to go in? She's like, it was mine. And she said, oh, really? Lee said the same thing. She's like, I don't know if I should be happy I made this pairing or sorry about it, basically.
Yes.
She's like, was this too perfect or just enough to get on my damn nerves? Because you two are two peas in a pod, basically.
And she was like, well, too late.
Right.
Because, we're in there now. It's kind of like, no takebacks.
Mm-hmm.
We are like we're fully vested. Too bad. So sad. But yeah, I love their relationship. This is a series. What's going to happen with these two? I look forward to seeing what's going to happen with them. Now that you say the things that you did like, what I did like about this book too was those little short chapters of reading the mind of the killer. Granted, we knew who the killer was, but just kind of seeing, like being that fly on the wall moments. I did like that of the killer watching their next victim through the window. They're standing outside, looking through their window, watching them. The killer watching Foster.
I like the action scene of her trying to kill Silva, Dr. Silva. She was like, oh my God. I mean, I like the action of it more than the watching of it because it wasn't as creepy as I wanted, but the
Yeah,
action
it
was
could
like,
have been
oh, she
creepier.
stabbed her, she got her.
Yes. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like in some books, we don't get that the viewpoint from the killer's point of view, Like even just that creepiness of cuz like killers in most killers, they're stalking their prey. They're
Mhm.
watching, and sometimes in some of the books that we've read as far, cuz we do mystery thriller, we don't get that. And
Right.
I did enjoy that part of the mind of the killer and kind of how they stalk and how they watch. And Tracy didn't spend a lot of time. It was what, 1 or 2 pages?
Yeah, it wasn't much.
It wasn't much. And it was like just enough to kind of, like take us out of the police procedural part because that's the thing with police procedurals, it can become too mundane
Mhm.
and to break it up and to see from the killer's point of view. So that's the thing that I did like. And I think I had mentioned to you in a text message, like Tracy, when cuz she really does her research. She will spend some time. I know she has spent time with Chicago Police Department, CPD. Like some of the terms, some of the police terms she used, I really enjoy that. Like goal bricker, even though I knew I knew context wise, but I was like, I want to look it up. So
Mhm.
I went and looked up goal bricker and, just some of the terminology that she uses. I think Tracy is her writing style. I do enjoy that. I do enjoy like that because I think she has a bit of a literary fiction kind of style to her when she
Yeah.
does her writing. And I do enjoy that part. So those were some of my likes.
Okay. I feel like, there were definitely lots of things to like about the book. One thing we should talk about is the audiobook narrator because we both tried the audiobook on for size and we both ended up reading
Let me put
it.
my drink down because, yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So what did you think about the narrator?
I struggled immensely, and I'm not saying that lightly, with the narrator. Um, it was not consistent. The voices were not consistent. I felt like they were all over the place. I guess that's the right way to say it. There was no consistency with tone, intonation. Um, I felt like, for example, if we said Amelia's voice could change often throughout the
Mhm.
story. It was not a consistency. Like I could tell the difference between Amelia and I'll say Foster.
Okay.
There was no consistency.
Mhm.
Um, um, there was no even keel. It was hard. It was very hard. And there were certain points where she kind of lulled me to sleep,
Mhm.
and I had to break out the book
Okay.
and kind of try and read along with
Yes.
it. Or at one point, it was just like I'm just gonna read.
Mhm.
And that's not what we do over here.
Right.
On this podcast, our theme is audio.
Yeah, we do a
So,
lot of audio. Um,
yeah, and that's how we base it. And it was hard to follow through with the audio version. So, and I've listened to Shantae before, but it's mostly been nonfiction. And with nonfiction, you're not changing. Um, well, in my opinion, I'm no expert on that, but with nonfiction, I don't think you have to, you're not changing voices because the point of view and you don't have to change. And it was hard. I struggled.
mhm.
The struggle was real.
Yeah, I let's see, when I started listening, I think I started at 1.8 and then I went to 2.0. I listened to whatever else I listened to, I was listening at 2.0 because it kind of hid all of the issues that you mentioned, because when you're going
The
faster, you just
flaws.
don't hear it as much, which made it, I think,
Yeah.
a little easier. But
Yeah.
I think maybe this could have benefited from 2 distinctly different narrators, maybe
Yeah, it was
3.
hard.
So
You know what? 3. Yeah, because there was a lot of characters at
Mhm.
one point where yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I
so
think
I
I agree with you on that part.
yeah. So I thought the audiobook did not help the story. It did not help,
And
because
you
usually audiobooks are supposed to level up,
enhance.
right? Yeah. So I know a narrator could only be as good as the book plus, right? They're supposed to enhance, like you said, the book. But they can also drag it down, just like a bad actor can make a movie horrible because his or her acting skills are trash. So, I don't think this narrator did any favors for this story. I'll just say that way. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, I mean, I thought the story was good. It was good. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. Um, I liked some stuff, like I just pointed out, and there were some flaws. So it was fine.
Mhm. The story,
Hmm.
not the
The
narrator.
story. And I think I
Yeah.
might not have even gotten that had I only stuck with the audio. I think
Oh,
that I had the book helped
yeah.
a little bit, reading some
Oh,
of
the
it.
book helped. The book helped.
Hmm.
Let's just be honest. Let's just go. Come on now. The book helped. Let's just be transparent here. That's what we do over here.
Yeah.
The book, reading the book helped tremendously.
Hmm.
Um, there were some issues with Shantae's narration, and that's all I can say. It did not enhance it as a reader, and I think I even shared with you. There was a review of someone who struggles with his hearing, and he struggled a lot.
Hmm.
So for someone who has no, I think he had vision.
Yeah, that's
I
why
think
he
he goes to
listens.
right. He listens because of his vision, his issues with his vision. So I just thought to myself, as a person who does not have that disability, I struggle. So I can imagine his struggle.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was really hard. I could not focus. I could not get into the story. I felt like she didn't put any um, personality. I don't know if that's the right term.
Well, the reviewer used one word that I found very accurate. He used the word distracting. It was distracting
Mm,
from the listening experience. And
okay.
now, like you just said, we listen to a lot of audio thriller and mystery type audiobooks. And I literally found myself rewinding parts 4 or 5 times. I'm like, wait,
I'm
what?
I'm gonna co-sign.
Yeah.
I'm co-signing. I'm
And to
co-signing.
me, that's getting into wasted time zone. Like
Whew,
we're in the zone of wasting time now when I have to go back 100, like
that
three
I
30
can't get
seconds
back.
back. Right.
That I can't get back.
Yeah.
That and not just that, it's not enjoyable.
No.
Not just wasted time, but unenjoyable. Is that a word?
Yes, I guess we're gonna
Unenjoyable.
make it a word today.
We're gonna make it a word today.
Hmm.
Unenjoyable wasted time.
Yeah.
because I'm not sure what you just said,
Yeah.
or I'm not sure how you conveyed. Is that
Yeah.
is that accurate for you? Because
Yeah.
that's how I felt, like, because with this kind of storyline, um, with mystery and suspense, I need different levels.
Mhm.
I need to know when I'm at peak level, or, like that suspense level. So if this was a thriller, even if, like you were saying, even if we read it and we were like, nah, it really wasn't a thriller. But I believe a good narrator could at least give me a little bit.
Because I think they use a little bit of acting. A good narrator
Yeah,
uses a little bit of
yeah,
acting.
yeah, some
So,
angst. And I didn't
yeah.
feel any, I didn't feel any moment where I was like, oh,
Mhm.
what?
Mhm.
I felt none of that in this story. I If you would take my heart levels or whatever, I felt like I was like even keel the whole damn time. I'm just like, this is how I felt.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was not helpful to the book at all. And to be honest, like some of the parts I felt like um I was listening to the adults in Charlie Brown. Like I'm listening and then all of a sudden it's
Look,
like
I'm about to put my mic. I'm
I
turning
blacked
my mic
out.
off.
You gotta laugh. But it's like I blacked out for like a minute and 30 seconds because I'm like, wait,
See, we are
what?
too much alike. We are too much damn alike.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this is, and I think we've said this before. It gets scary, but I was like that too, because I was just like,
Like, what? Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys don't see my facial expression, but it was just like, wah, 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 wah,
Mhm.
wah, 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 wah. And I was like, I
Exactly.
think I might have missed something.
Yes. Yeah. The figure.
What are you doing?
Let me go back.
30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, because I know I just missed something.
Yeah.
But when you haven't changed your tone, I don't know that I've missed something. A a good narrator, I can tell from the way your voice changes that holy shit,
Something's about to
something
happen. Jinx.
Tamra, if we were in the same room, I high five you or elbow you because we're in the pandemic and shit. I would high five you.
Yeah.
A good narrator, I would be like, OMG, what the F did I just miss?
Yeah.
But I'm rewinding because I'm just like, huh? What did she just say?
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Not good.
No,
So
not at all.
So yeah,
I,
that's our take on an audiobook narrator. And honestly, if you guys listen to any of our podcasts about these books, we rarely have this kind of situation. We've had times
this
where
is,
we're
you know
like,
what? This is the first. I
yeah,
believe this is our first. Matter of fact, I know when we were texting each other, I put that in my notes. Like, I think this is the first time that we've really just did
we were
not like.
adverse to the narrator. Yeah. Because we've had times
Yeah.
where we're like, meh, it was fine. Or it
Yeah.
was kind of slow.
Right.
You
They
know,
weren't
yeah.
great, but they weren't horrible.
Yeah.
This one,
It was
she didn't do
noticeable.
anything. Yeah, it was very noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank goodness I had the book as backup because I probably would not have really liked the book at all.
You know what? I'm gonna say shout out to our book club's members who at our last meeting mentioned. I don't know if you had downloaded the book, but at our last book club's meeting, they were saying, "Ooh, it's on Kindle. Ooh, you can get the narration for like what was it, $1.99 or something.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So shout out to, what was it, Carrie and
Mm-hmm.
somebody else. Shout out to y'all,
Yeah.
because without you guys and downloading the book was like available on Kindle Unlimited or
Yep.
something, but it was cheap. It was, for the low. So shout out to you guys. Thank you very much. We thank you for that. So yeah, without that and being able to read the print version and
Yeah.
follow along, or just even not following along, just reading on your own. Um, I don't know if I would have been able to get through this book without that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I
just gonna
agree.
say it. Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Okay. So you ready to rate the book?
I am.
Okay. Let's rate it.
Yeah,
Would you like to
I
go
am
first
going
or
to.
should I go
I
first?
will. I'll go first. I'll go
Okay.
first. I'm gonna give it a 3, because I didn't think it was horrible, horrible. Um, I think, as we've said before, a 3 is, I probably
It
wouldn't
was
like.
okay.
Yeah, it was okay. I don't think I would say girl. Like, I wouldn't recommend it, like, y'all really need to read this one. It was okay. Um, I loved how she took the steps to write the procedural. It did take a little longer than I expected. Um, there was some plot holes, as we mentioned throughout the podcast, and there were some issues, but it was an okay story. I'm not gonna give up on Tracy. I'm gonna I'm gonna hang in there. She's still, somebody that I like to read, and that's that's my review. I'm sticking to it.
All right. So I am gonna also give it 3 stars. Um, I think it was fine, right? Overall, it was fine. No major issues, but again, like you, I'm not going around recommending the book. But I'm not opposed to seeing what the second book looks like. Although, I've really been into audiobooks lately. So what would deter me is if she has the same narrator.
Mm.
If she changes the narrator, I will pick it up for sure.
Ah,
I will pick it up
I
for
didn't think about
sure.
that.
But if she doesn't change the narrator, I probably
Yeah.
won't, because it depends on if I'm in the physical reading mood or not, right? If I'm in the
Right?
zone where I want to read it, then I'll probably pick it up. But if
You're
she
right.
changes
You're
the
right.
narrator, I'll absolutely pick it up just to see.
Yeah. And the thing is like, the narrator that she had for her other series, for the Cass Rain series, I enjoyed her. Um, and I get it, this is a totally different character and she probably wanted to switch it up. But yeah, you're right. I'm not sure if, yeah, I would do the print version. And I won't, I can honestly say, it is going to be, if it is Shantae again, I will probably do the print version. I probably, if Scrib has it, because I have a subscription, I'll do the combo, but I'm not gonna hop on it like immediately. It's gonna take me some time because I know what I'm about to deal with.
Hmm.
Like that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to prepare myself because I know it's gonna be a struggle read.
And I
It's
don't
not
like
gonna be an
that.
enjoyable read. Yeah, it's
I
not
don't like
gonna be
that
an
at all.
enjoyable read. It's gonna be a struggle read. So you're right. That's gonna be my issue. If she's gonna keep Shantae for book 2, I'm gonna struggle because I do want to read book 2 because I really want to see this relationship, this partnership between Lee and Foster.
Hmm.
It
I
sounds
think
fun.
it's gonna be good. I think those two are gonna grow together, and before you know it, they're gonna be besties, just like she was with her previous partner. I feel like that
Yeah,
potential is there.
yeah, yep. But yeah, Shantae is going to deter me. Sorry, Shantae, for fiction and this one. I'm just gonna stick with you in nonfiction.
Hmm. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
my first time hearing her. I don't think I've listened to her in anything else that I've listen to on audio. So this
more.
was my first interaction. So
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a Tracy stan, so I'll buy it. I'll read it. And then, you know what, like, and I don't know about you, there's some authors where you just read them and you kind of know what you're going to get, and you're comfortable with their writing, and you're just like, I know what I'm going to get.
Mhm.
Even though this one threw me for a little bit because it was longer and there were some things I'm just like,
Maybe she's just
Tracy,
getting into the finding
groove
her
of this
footing
character,
with it,
this new character. Yeah,
Mhm,
because I loved Cass Rains. Ooh, loved
mhm.
her. But
Well,
anyway.
book 2 will be a good signifier for you if
Mm-hmm.
because, like, for example, it's very possible that one of your favorite authors just can't write a different series that well. Because I have another author that I love all this series of books. She went off and wrote something different and it didn't hit. But in the
Mm,
other world, she is spot on, chef's kiss, perfection. And then this other thing she was trying out for 2 books.
yeah, it was like,
Mm.
yeah,
So, I mean, book 2 will tell you if this is one of those situations or if she's just getting warmed up.
yeah. Okay. Yep. We're always looking for the next best.
I want
But yeah,
something to be like the next thing that
I
I'm like
know.
raving about. I want that. I want it.
And we
I
haven't
would
had
love
it
to
in a
find
while.
it this year. Let me get
I
one.
know. Can
This is
we?
March.
I, can we get a 5-star?
I would love
Come
freaking
through
one
5-star.
5-star. I
Oh,
would love one. Hell, I would love 2. I would love 2, but I'd be happy and content with 1.
one by June. Come
Mhm.
on, come through 5-star.
I know.
And if you guys know of a 5-star, hit us up, please.
And not any BS. Y'all know we rate hard. Y'all know if
We
you listen,
stingy.
right, if you listen to this podcast, we are stingy with it. So if you think it's a 5-star, let it be your best of the best 5-star that you recommend everybody and their mother read it.
Bring it.
Yeah.
Don't play with us. Do
Yeah.
not play with us. It's been a
Exactly.
long time. Look, can we just come on? Because we're done with this one.
Yeah.
Are we moving into the after show? Can
Let's
we
do
move
it.
to the after?
Okay, y'all. We are done here on the podcast. It's been a great time. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to come back next month when we enjoy our next buddy read to be announced in the book club's app. So do join us over there because I have not
Yeah.
announced it yet. So join us there
Please
so you
come
know.
over.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, before we go, if you guys are missing out because our discussions in the book clubs
They're
app,
so fun.
fire.
They're so fun. Because we only scratch the surface on the podcast. And there's so
Yeah.
many different opinions and things brought up that we don't even get to on the podcast. So
No.
it's a fun time.
Yeah. Yeah, please come on over. Shelf Addiction. Not just buddy reads, but your fantasy series too. So guys, come
on over and
I
say
can't
hi.
say enough. Yeah, I can't say enough. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I love it. It's a good time. But if you're you're shy, you don't want to come, it's fine. We'll be right here on the podcast in your inbox again next month with another mystery or thriller-ish read. All right, so we'll end things there. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.